this gospel about the debt and how we are to repay, but also how we are to be always, see the position of servant and master. We are all born with this gift of life to serve God. But because God makes us in his likeness and image, we will have opportunities to step in to being like God. See, that imitation that we're to have, especially in the example of Jesus Christ, we should act as much as possible always like God, knowing God's actions and taking them on as our own. So we're to be people who know what loans are and debts and pay them, right, and loan them, but we're also to be people who forgive loans as God does. That we're to step into the generosity of love and not just be pragmatic, programmed business people or responsibility people, strict parents and unmovable brothers and sisters. We're to have that spirit of forgiveness always. And in particular today, when we're preparing to celebrate Maximilian Kolbe, and I did want to highlight how he has really captured the hearts of our younger people. Because of COVID, the bishop suspended his normal rounds of confirming. And so in these last 5 years at the parishes I was at, I got to do confirmation 4 times, which is a great joy for a pastor, to do the confirmation, celebrate that sacrament with the young people, and not have the bishop's thumb on everybody's forehead, but this thumb right there. And each year we did some 130 at St Mary Magdalene. And so some of my priest friends from Boston, Father Wally, that some of you know, who's been a priest 42 years, he said, "That's unfair, Father Chris. You've confirmed more people than I have in 40 years." And in confirming our young people, right, I get to hear all the names they're picking for their confirmation names. And Maximilian Kolbe is a popular, in vogue, in style name. Our young people are really flocking to that name. And you know, in reflecting about it, why? Well, that great example of his life, of while in the consecration camp, to offer his life in place for another, a young person who was married with children, that he would take that person's life. They had decreed they were going to kill 10 people in response to somebody who had escaped. And Maximilian Kolbe, the great Franciscan conventual, stepped in and said, "I will take this person's place because he has a family, and as a priest I do not," in that way. And he died for that. And I think the young people, because of, we need to be honest, because of the time period we've grown up in, where everyone now has grown up hearing the sins of priests and clergy. The great unfolding of secrets and actions of harm against our young people by our very church. The sexual abuse scandal is not to be overlooked in its effect of the break of trust. And so people growing up now hear the news and the great sins and darkness of the church, that we still need to work on rebuilding that trust, to be ever open and honest about any struggles, and to be vigilant of the care and safety of our young people. So people growing up now knowing the great faults of priests have what? This example of Maximilian Kolbe. A priest that they could look to that lived the right way. And that's a call for everyone in formation. Brother Davis is here today. His mom's an assistant principal. He's a seminarian with the Legionnaires of Christ. We're honored to have you here today. Know that in all service to people of God, if we're not responding in the way God does, we'll always disappoint and cause pain. We're to be as loving and kind every day, and that's almost impossible, but we have to be honest about it. This gospel always talks about the debt too, and I'm reminded of a good friend of mine. I got close to him when I was in Savannah, Archbishop Hartmeyer. He's the Archbishop of Atlanta now, our provincial for our region. And because he's a Franciscan conventual, a great devotion to Maximilian Kolbe from his very order. And he loves to preach about the forgiveness of debts, because if you're the Archbishop of Atlanta, you're in a state that was colonized by the debtors coming from England. Remember, that's the colony for the debtors. That, right? The Oglethorpe brought them from England, from people out of prison in England for debts, and they were banished to America and forced to live in Georgia. That was their punishment. Forced to live in Georgia, which is a beautiful place. And what happened with that colony? It was built into a great state. That they were let out of prison, sent to the wilderness, and start a new life. And anybody who's visited the great city of Savannah, I'm thankful that they built that place. And what all the great things that have come out. I love watching the Braves play baseball, right? All of that came out of people who were forgiven their debts and allowed to start over. So our very country has a tradition of not locking people away forever, pray God. And in our Catholic social teaching, we should always work towards turning people not from darkness to light by punishment, but from darkness to light by love. Amen? Amen.